On to Act 2.1, the first part of Act 2.1. In this section, we're going to see a few things. First, we see the B-World Authority. He is mentioned, he's kind of heard of, but not seen up close. So in this case, it's Boaz. He is someone with the authority to and the power to fulfill the story goal, and he's someone who can help the main character, and here in this case Ruth, to fulfill that. We're going to see throughout all of Act 1 a series of conflicts that kind of press upon, do you belong here? Are you the kind of person you need to be to fulfill this story goal? And it's going to showcase her weakness. So her weakness is, I'm a Moabitess. I am not one of these people by birth. And the story goal is to beget the kingly line. So these are going to be in conflict, and there's going to be a series of interactions that will showcase that will show that she is the kind of person that can fulfill the story goal. So here, in this first part of the story, she has entered the B-World. This is a fish out of water section. So this is the place where she is not going to be, her weakness is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Everybody else seems more qualified to fulfill the story goal than she does, because they are Israelites by birth. And the fact that she is a foreigner stands out so much here. We see it mentioned in verse 2, and Ruth the Moabitess said to Naomi. We see it mentioned in verse 6, where the foreman's talking to Boaz. She is the Moabitess who came back from Moab. She is not someone who is native to Israel, and it's standing out both at home with Naomi and when she goes out to the field, which I guess can be representative of how Israel is viewing her as a foreigner. We see it also later on when she responds to Boaz. She says, why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner? So it's at home, it's other people in Israel, and it's also internal, this sense that she does not belong here. This first part of Act 2 is about getting provisions, sort of finding your feet, finding your way around Act 1. It's about juxtaposing the people of the B world with the people of the A world. And it's about getting a sense that she does actually belong. So the juxtaposition of the B world with the A world people, in the A world, in Moab, Naomi stood out as someone of immense faith, because she is a Moabitess, and she is someone who has faith in the God of Israel, and she is someone who is a loyal friend to the Israelite people, and loyal to God. She wants to be ruled by the God of Israel, not by the God of Moab. So she stood out as someone of faith there. But when she comes to Israel, she stands out as not qualified to be part of these people. She stands out as being a foreigner. So in terms of getting provisions, normally we see the main character going alone to get these provisions. Often it's somebody else telling the main character what they need to do, because often in this part of the story, the main character is reactive, and other people tell them what the next thing is. Here it's Naomi. Naomi is quite passive, because her characteristic action is to wait for someone else to provide. Here, Ruth is the one who takes the initiative, and maybe we can infer, I'm not sure, but maybe I'm reading into it here, but maybe we can infer that this is coming from God, that it's God is the one who is prompting her to get provisions for her mother-in-law. Where Ruth and Boaz show incredible kindness and loyalty, and I think the story is implying that is given by God. So we have the A World Authority, we glimpse Boaz from a distance. We hear Naomi say, Naomi had a relative. Well, the narrators say that Naomi had a relative on her husband's side from the clan of Elimelech, a man of standing whose name was Boaz. So he is the authority in the B world. He is also someone that has the power to address the story God. We also have the provisions, and we also have the fish out of water. Let me see if there's anything else in my notes. Okay, so in this part of the B word, so we're looking here at chapter 2, verses 1 to 7, and we want to see a whole flurry of new people. We want it to be a little bit overwhelming, and we want to get the sense from these new people with varying degrees of opposition or friendliness. Normally it's kind of strangers kind of bumping into her kind of feel. And we want to sense that she doesn't belong, and everybody else is, that she stands out. Everybody else is like, what are you doing here? Or ignoring her. And there might be a sense of an internal feeling of, what am I doing here? Was this a good idea? Kind of the buyer's remorse sense of, maybe I shouldn't have come. So normally we don't see that straight away, but it does come out a little bit later when she replies to Boaz. So how does the narrative tell us that other people interact with her? We see other people, we see this in the reply of the foreman to Ruth, and to Boaz. Boaz asked the foreman, whose young woman is that? And the foreman replied, she is the Moabitess who came back from Moab with Naomi. So here we have him emphasizing she is the Moabitess, she's a foreigner. And then we see here how he's been treating her in the rest of the reply. She said, please let me glean and gather among the sheaves behind the harvesters. She went into the fields and has worked steadily from morning until now, except for a short rest in the shelter. See the kind of detail that that shows that he's been watching her from morning until now. He knows exactly what she's been up to. She is being scrutinized because she's a foreigner, or maybe it's the case that the foreman's just on top of everybody, but he knows exactly what Ruth's been doing. He so I guess the response of the people in the field, yes, they let her get on with the task, but they've been watching her. So this first section is, do I belong here? And so there's lots of reasons that the story gives for Ruth, that Ruth doesn't belong in this B world. The fact that she's a foreigner, her weakness is a big one of those. And her characteristic action, so Ruth is about being a loyal, compassionate friend, but the thing that she must do is to find favor with Israel, to find favor, to become one of them by finding favor with them. And so far it doesn't seem to be working, but we do see this in just that first little section of verse 8, with Boaz says to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. So here he has declared authoritatively, definitively, that she belongs. So you are not the Moabitess or that Moabitess or the one who came from Moab. You are my daughter. You are part of my people. You belong here. And let's I hope to see you in part 2, where we will continue this and really think about family in the B world. Hope to see you in the next video.